Terrible stuff. Hey, let's cut to the action though. These guys can do it a lot better than me. Steve will be maybe facing one of them later on, we'll find out. It is Kim Davenport against Jimmy White. Let's cross to our MC, John McDonald.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the Cardiff International Arena. Matchroom Sport proudly present the Admiral World Pool Championships, sanctioned by the WPA and live and exclusive here on Sky Sports. You've joined us for the very best in 9-ball action. It's a race to 5. Let's meet the players then. From the USA, runner-up in the US Open, would you please welcome Kim Davenport. And from London, England, an absolute legend from the world of snooker, please welcome the whirlwind himself, Jimmy White.
Another good-sized crowd, ready to see the whirlwind in action. Explain what's going to happen here with the lag, Steve.
Well, you've got to get as close to the bottom rail as possible, and yeah, it's a big shot in this game because, especially with such a short distance, if you can get that first break off and get going. So there's quite a lot of pressure on this shot. To judge the weight of the table and the speed of the table without having played a shot on it, you can understand how the players are a little bit sort of weak there.
Weak lag.
But important for Kim Davenport. You'll be very pleased with that. More pleased than we, the crowd out there, think it's important.
Now, we're having a bit of a laugh about the break and so on. Jimmy doesn't really seem to have mastered it so far.
No, he hasn't, and nor have I, and I don't think any of the British players, all due respect to a lot of them, who have made big improvements in it, and I think the only player who has is Steve Knight, in my opinion, got an American-style break. You'll see the difference on a yearly basis if a player's more consistent over a period of time. If things don't go right, they'll change their break off. I don't think the English players as yet know how to keep on altering their break if it's not going right.
So it's been interesting to get the speed gun on that, actually. He hit it pretty hard.
You would expect as a player got into the tournament that he sort of loosened up and started to break harder, but you know, some of the American lads, they've been laying off the break as well, sort of not so hard because they think that's getting better results. And as it folds, you'll see the better breakers start to control the ball and start to dominate because of that fact.
This often happens, potting the ball off the break, which certainly the Americans do, time in, time out. Jimmy's in danger here of remaining seated, isn't he?
So, I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion every time the balls come to rest. I'm sure anybody that's been watching all of yesterday will notice that the 5 is next to that brown 7, and that's going to be his sort of sticking point, if any. But of course he's nervous out there as well, first match on the television. Anything can happen. You can miss any ball on a 9-ball pool table, that's for sure. Even though the pockets look big, any amount of side spin that you don't want on the white ball on this very slick cloth can take the ball offline. And even though they are massive pockets compared to snooker, you'd be surprised what you can miss.
How does the brain work at this stage? Has he worked out, do you think, every single shot that he's going to play right until the 9-ball?
Yes. That's the difference between this and snooker in a way. You only have to think 2 or 3 shots ahead in snooker. This way, they work out, as they call it, their route map, the moment the balls come to rest. They obviously can adapt and change, but Kim Davenport would have known that was how you had to get on that 5-ball. And he's going to come across the side cushion and back across with a bit of left-hand side on this shot, probably to try and end up where the blue spot would be on a snooker table. Using the cushions and the rails to slow the ball down sometimes. And that's perfect. You'd be absolutely delighted with that. And now back across the table to where he's where he's cueing across now. Try and bring the white ball back in that path, but not too far so he doesn't go off into the pocket. And a very competent performance so far. And that looks like he's out of position, but he'd rather be there than off into the pocket. And you can cut them down the rails. 1-0 Kim Davenport, and that lag is important.
Well, this is it. He gets this.
Oh, he's missed it, though. He's missed it. I cannot believe that.
This is the beauty of it, isn't it? You do the hard work.
At snooker, yeah.
You can...
Wow. Oh, look at him, he's in bits. You do all that hard work, as you say, in snooker, you'd have enough points to win the match. But at this game, all those great shots.
What happened there? I mean, the snooker boys seem to get these time in, time out. The pool boys, the fine cuts are
No, that's just pure pressure. I mean, you know, he played the positional shot a bit out of position, but it was the right way to play it out of position. You didn't want to play it out of position and going off into the pocket or risk going anywhere near the pocket. So you play it short and leave it high. But you're so used to playing that shot. I mean, he's played that shot a million times and not missed it. But that's where possibly the English snooker players have any advantage at all, are used to playing on television more than most of the rest of the world.
Dear me.
Look at that. I mean, that's he's distraught.
Would you like to break?
Now, Jimmy's got the break and not Kim Davenport.
So Jimmy gets on with this break, actually, because we mentioned he had been struggling a little bit.
Not as hard. He didn't unleash there. He can hit the balls harder than that. He's working on the basis that he's seen a few of the American players hit softer.
And I guess your game evolves as the tournament goes on. Just watch him.
It would do, but Jimmy, if I was talking to Jimmy, I'd tell him to hit the balls as hard as he can, because I think he's got more chance for that way. It's obviously not working that way for him at the moment.
Okay, interesting thoughts there of Steve Davis. Let's cross over to our first commentary team of the day. Jerry Forsyth and Sid Waddell.
Thanks, Dynamite Dave. Great break, son. And that last track, Jerry did epitomise just how cruel this game can be. Davenport did everything right except position on the 9.
That was tragic for Kim, Sid. He's really got to get something going here. He needs to make something happen in his favor, because right now that error is weighing big on his mind. He did a good job there. He's gotten ball in hand off that safety. And if he can get past the 1 ball and get onto the 2 and get on with business here, he might be able to put that out of his head.
Successful member of the Moscone Cup team, the American team. Over the years, Moscone Cup was Europe against the USA, featured on Sky Sports. And Jimmy had the honour of playing the shot that won the Moscone Cup. Only time Europe have ever won it, in a single rack shootout with the great Lou Butera, Machine Gun Lou. And his last game he should have won, Jimmy.
Yes, indeed, he should have. He gave that one away with a couple of errors that were uncalled for. Kim here doesn't like the line he got exactly. He wanted to have a little bit more angle than that so that he could slide across the table more easily. He may have to settle for a bit tougher shot here on the 3. Yeah, he's moved it well. He just wanted to make sure that pink didn't get in his way.
Again, he misses them. Very similar shot to the 9 he missed. 2 straight.
That's really going to start to work on him here. If he feels like he's not on his game, the cameras really can start to bother you then.
Well, Jimmy being gifted chances here. And no tricky ball. He moves just high enough on the table to get a good angle on the orange 5.
Oh, and he's gotten a pretty good angle here on this 6 ball too. All he has to do is make it, and the ball will float down in position for the 7. He decided to come off the rail, get a little bit more angle. That way he can move the cue ball more easily down table. The greater the angle, the easier it is to move it off the rail.
Opponent just glued to that chair.
Yeah, that chair's got to be hurting Kim right now.
2 gifts to Jimmy. He came on to Davenport like the Laughing Cavalier. Now he looks like Lee Van Cleef on a bad night.
Yeah, and it's strange. You would have thought that Kim would have had the advantage in this game because of Jimmy's loss last night on TV. And Kim obviously is the more experienced pool player, but he's made 2 critical errors here. And that's not at all like Kim. Kim's known for being a sharpshooter. He's quite a shot maker, and he's a great position player. In fact, he invented a game called Target Pool that's quite popular, where you practice your position, get scores for position. But Jimmy White's taking the 2nd rack now, up 2-0 in a short race to 5.
That's right. Ice in the mind, oil in the arm, fire in the belly. Jimmy, 2 gifts, 2 points up.
Perhaps Jimmy will be nice and give a gift back.
Not that kind of lad. Well, there you go. The Group 9 table. Young, top with 6. Holtman and Toda for a piece. Jimmy in the good zone, the yellow zone, on 2 points. Kim just below the line.
Yeah, Kim needs this match to move above that line and put Jimmy below him. This is quite a critical match.
Third rack. Jimmy White to break.
Picking up Steve Davis's point, he thinks Jimmy maybe ought to give the break a bit more pasty.
Well, if he does, though, he might lose control of the cue ball. Right now, he's doing a good job of controlling the cue ball, and you're right, he's not putting anything in, but that's not always break speed.
As we've seen, yeah. We've seen the soft cut used to good advantage on the break.
You know, this is the kind of shot that's going to mess with Kim, being a little bit nervous. He's got that 5 ball there that the cue ball's liable to run into, and it did. Bit of fortune there. If he wound up behind the 6, he would have really been in trouble.
As it is, the blue 2 easily passes the 9. Just to remind you of the rules, you start on the low ball, in this case the blue 2, and then you proceed through the colors to the 9 ball, or if you see a plant or a cannon from the low ball to the 9, you can finish the game in a whisker.
And this is the kind of layout that Kim would normally handle quite easily, but right now he's got a little bit of doubt creeping into his mind, and that's what he's got to worry about.
That's pretty good position for the red to hug the rail.
Yeah, his only job is to move that cue ball down table near the pink. He's got to get position on the next shot, or making this one does him no good at all. He ran into the 5 ball there, which can be problematic. You really don't want to collide with other balls on the table if you don't have to, because you can't predict then where the cue is going to go.
Feather tickle in. Good angle on the orange for position on the green 6.
Wow. He took all of that pocket, and I can tell you, I know Kim's game quite well, and he's not hitting the balls right now with the same confidence that I normally see him play with. He wants to be sure he doesn't make another bobble.
Well, Steve Davis said, and Johnny Archer was talking to him last night, agrees, a raise to 5 puts fear in your heart. It's enough to disturb even the best.
It certainly does, Sid, and the problem with that is that when you start thinking about it too much, you're not playing your normal game. And once you get out of your normal rhythm, it can tend to domino on you.
Well, as you were saying earlier, before we started this commentary, these are men who play on instinct. So if anything brings in a rational process, chances of making mistakes are more.
That's correct. Anything that gets you out of your rhythm, and oh no.
He did it again!
He's done it again.
This is unbelievable.
This is unbelievable. You're right. Kim Davenport missing 3 shots in 3 games, giving away 3 racks to Jimmy White. You can't advance in this championship doing this. Kim's got to be just kicking himself now. However, Jimmy's now on the 50-yard line. Now we're going to get to test his confidence. He can go into either pocket, but he wanted to be straighter into one of the 2. Now he's got to really do some work. He's got to cut this ball, and this is a lot tougher than it looks.
This is for 3-0, Len, hard as the pocket.
He's made it. He's avoided the scratch. He's done well, and all Kim can do is sit and watch.
Sensation as usual here in Cardiff, Whirlpool. Jimmy, 3 gifts. Jimmy, 3 zip.
Welcome back to Cardiff International Arena, day 2 of the Admiral Whirlpool Championship,
Jimmy White to break,
where Kim Davenport is uncharacteristically bowing to the pressure, and Jimmy White's on cruise control. He's only had to make 6 balls to win 3 games.
And gifts are what the Americans been offering. The odds on the game, the bookies had Davenport 13-8 on to win this one, and Jimmy 6-5. Jimmy got different ideas there.
Well, at least Kim has an opportunity here. He's back at the table. He's really going to be careful on this rack. He's got to study every shot at this point.
And as if there wasn't enough pressure on you with these very short games, race to 5 racks where one slip and you're out there. Pressure of playing on television tables, and also the pressure of having to think about shots. And Earl Strickland mentioned the humidity, so if you're a great player like Davenport, you could do without any extra pressure.
Well, the thing that's showing up here in this game of 9-ball, the closer you get to the 9-ball, the more pressure there is on each shot. The early balls in the rack seem to go down very easily. It's the last balls where the arm starts to lie to you.
Finds position nicely on the orange. And by just working the white to the middle of the table, he should. Well,
Sid?
Well, that was the only one word for that. That was clumsy.
Yeah, I think you can stick a fork in him. He's done.
And a bit of parsley and some French fries.
I've never seen Kim struggle like this, and he's never seen himself struggle. You can see it in his eyes. He doesn't understand what's going on.
I mean, surely it was elementary to make that putt and get position.
Absolutely.
In the middle of the table-ish, and he just clubbed it.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's leaving Jimmy every time with duck outs. Very, very easy. Jimmy's not having to do much work here. He's just waiting for Kim to hand him the games. Sometimes good fortune will sit on one player's shoulder the entire match.
Well, Jim will take any amount of that.
4-0.
4-0 in no time against a top player who is having a mare, as in night.
Jimmy's on the hill and Kim's in the hole.
Here's the clumsy shot that led in Jim. He's looking for position in the middle and just lost the line completely. Inch and a half off line.
He seemed to punch that shot right at the very end. Kim has an extremely smooth stroke, and yet at the end of that shot, that stick was punching through that ball.
Right then. So day 2 of the World Championships here in Cardiff, the International Arena. Matches going on at all 3 levels. This is the show table, as it were.
Rack 5, Jimmy White to
Best
break.
players in the world are here, and Jimmy takes this rack, takes the match.
Well, Kim's going to get to come to the table. Nothing's gone down.
Shot on the 1.
This is not an easy table. You've got some balls clustered up on one side of the table that there's a lot of work to be done here. And Kim was hoping to get an easy layout, I'm sure, to try and get a bit of a score going. He's studying those balls now, trying to figure out what to do to clear the table up.
He usually comes out in shirts that look like an explosion in a paint factory, does Kim, but he's come out in black for this one. An omen, the way things are going.
Right now it's a very appropriate color. Kim's got to slice this 2-ball down the rail, or he may be deciding to stick Jimmy behind that cluster of balls so that he can't make a hit. That's what he's going to do. Now, when Jimmy makes this hit on this 2-ball, if he doesn't hit it very gently, he's going to break these balls apart, and then he'll have done a lot of work for Kim. And obviously, if Kim should wind up getting ball in hand here, if Jimmy should foul, then Kim can break them up himself while making the shot. So a lot of good things can happen. And did. Jimmy's broken the balls up. Kim has a shot on the 2-ball.
So that's Kim using the old noddle, that.
Yeah, that's experience coming to 4. He's played this game so many years that he sees these patterns, he sees these opportunities. He knew he had to break those balls up, and he'd let Jimmy do the work for him. Tough shot queuing over the rail. You've only got about a third of the ball to hit.
Yep.
That was well done.
And said there's many a slip between brain and tip.
Well, if you look at it, all he has to do here is draw back just a little bit to get this pink. Then he can come off the rail and be straight in on the 5 ball, stop that shot for the 6 ball, go right back across the center table for the 7, 8, and 9 are ducks. So maybe Kim can get something going here.
Ducks in this sense, as in shooting gallery. Well, the way Tim's been playing, he probably would miss the pond, but concentrating and needing all his experience to get out of this.
Sid, he hit 1 diamond up off that pocket that time. His arm's still not treating him very well.
That's right, you did go on the cush early. Jimmy takes this rack, he takes the match.
Okay, this is the critical shot for Kim. He's got to move the cue ball back across the table for the 8. So he has to hit this with a bit of force. And that's the pocket that beat him up last time. He's made it.
And he looks sweet as a nut on the black 8. And remember, it's winner to break. So if he nails these 2, he gets a shot at the pack.
Finally. This will help Kim quite a bit. Now he knows he can get the job done. He's just got to do it 4 more times before Jimmy does it once. Nigel's going to come up and put the Sardo rack to use.
Here we go. The arena, as I say, on 3 levels, show table, and the mezzanine levels.
That's a good look at the Sardo rack. That's a new invention for our game. It gives you a very, very tight, consistent rack, time after time after time. In tournaments in the past few years, we've had a lot of trouble getting good racks. You could sometimes spend 15 or 20 minutes trying to get a good rack. This thing does it right away. It's really quite a slick machine.
Yeah, actually, I think one point is the players seem to show 100% trust in it. I remember the Moscone Cup and World Championships where they have gone before they've read to look at the rack.
Right.
And now they seem very few of them are actually going and examining it. I think they have
not at all.
faith.
They know that machine's going to give them a good tight rack, and it's going to give you the same rack time after time after time. And that's a big advantage because once you find a break that's working for you, you can stick with it. You don't have to worry about the inconsistency of the rack. Kim has done very well on this break. He's got an easy shot on the 1 ball, pretty simple position for the 2. Once he gets past the 3 ball, he should be able to relax.
We have over 30 top titles in the US over the years. A very experienced Californian.
And one of the most colorful players of the game. California Kim has been entertaining audiences in the US for a long time. He enjoys the fans, loves the game.
Can't drop another rack there.
Well, he's got to study this. That 3 is awful close to the 4 ball. Doesn't have much of an alley.
Yeah, had to take it in off the black.
That was a good shot. Now, making that tough a shot is going to give Kim a lot more confidence.
See that?
That's a very advanced shot when you're having to use a ball. You have no angle of error. You have to hit that 8 ball dead on. He's made that. Now,
that sounded a very funny contact.
It did, and here the position on this shot is extremely critical. The 8 ball being so close to the 9, you just can't get straight in on the 8 or the 9 would block your path. He's probably going to have to play the 8 so that the cue ball will go up and down the table. It all depends on where this cue ball winds up after this shot. Now, he's already made his plan. Let's see what he's thinking about.
Deep screw to the right-hand side.
He's got to move this cue ball from here back up to here and then all the way back down to here. Oh, he's chosen the other side of the ball. Let's see if he's gotten there.
This should not worry him. the extremely thin contact on the 9. This then to pull back 4-2.
Yeah, he's just got to think about all those shots he's missed before.
Or not think about them.
Oh,
He
no!
did it again!
He's given away the match. He's given away the match. He did all that work again, made those great shots, and gave the match away to Jimmy.
It's a ringer for Groundhog Day. It just keeps happening, the same thing again. Kim Davenport, California Kim, gifts the match to Jimmy White.
Jimmy went over and shook Kim's hand. He should have kissed him.
Incredible match. Comedy of errors, except Kim won't call it a comedy.
Oh, that was terrible.
Great match that. Jimmy White beating Kim Davenport. That's what the Group 9 table looks like at the moment. Davenport slipping out of those all-important top 4 places. Jimmy White, though, in second behind Young Hwa Yong. And the man himself is here. Jimmy, did you see some black cats crossing the road this morning, or what was going on?
I must have met Steve Davis this morning. I don't know what happened. I couldn't believe it. You know, he's obviously a great player, and he just missed so many vital balls. And the first game he missed the 9, left it over the pocket, and the last game the 9 was over the pocket again. I thought, I better quickly pot this before it drops.
I think we've got some of the shots. I mean, you have a look. You're sitting in your chair. You expect a guy to get this.
Well, this first one, that's the only chance you can miss it if you hit it too thin, can't you? You know that because of the size of the bags. And that shot, never expected to miss this one. And what happened
this
here?
thick, didn't he? Into the what we call the
I couldn't believe that.
Could have dropped on another day. That could have dropped.
Exactly. And this was a crazy one. I don't know if he got a kick, which you don't seem to get, like we get kicks in snooker. You don't get many kicks.
This was missable. I fancied him to get this.
Yeah, I thought it was in.
Because he was back in the game a bit.
But once again, he's hit it too thin.
So, have you got any idea how many balls you potted to win that match 5-1? Because we've counted them up. Dave knows the answer.
What, 5 9s, isn't it? 45. Oh no, of course not. You'd have potted.
How many balls?
You said you wouldn't know, and you were right, actually. I'm on my completely right.
How many balls? How many balls have you potted?
We reckon 10.
Oh, yeah,
is
of
all
course,
you potted.
because of the 2. Yeah, I'd say 8 then.
10 balls to
You've
win
done
5.
10 shots worth of work.
Yeah, well, I always work hard for
2
Barry.
points.
You know what it's like. You know yourself.
What do you think happened? I mean, do you think it's... I was saying beforehand, I think the only thing we've got the advantage over the players who have more experience in this game, we've been on television more. Do you think that's any advantage?
It might have been, because, you know, he's obviously just an established player. He was,
but he's been in the Moscone Cup.
Yeah, I remember him in the Moscone Cup. He got to the final of the American Pool Championship this year, so he's obviously... I don't know, he may be a bit nervous, because he definitely missed... He should have been at least 3-0 up, maybe 4-0 up.
Do you think
my break's terrible. I've got to go and sort something, because before I normally pop balls off the break.
Yeah.
Not as consistent as the pool players, but I didn't pop one there and didn't pop one yesterday. They've moved it up slightly, haven't they?
Yeah, it makes a difference. I mean, as I say, that they can alter their speed and everything. They know where to break. We don't really. We've got one break.
Apparently, you're supposed to put the white a bit more towards the centre. Well, don't have a D, towards the centre of the table. You've got more chance.
Well, why didn't you do that then?
Because it didn't seem to work for anyone else I've seen. So I'm just pleased to have won the match, and hopefully, if I win tomorrow, I qualify.
Okay, we'll stay with us, Jimmy.
Okay.
We'll have a bit more of a chat.